There are some people here who don't really speak English. Like, we need a Finnish translation and a German translation. Like, if we can...
You'll have to... Gestures, I think. I don't... We don't... As far as I know, we don't have anybody in the council who speaks Finnish.
I'll tell you what it is now, I'll tell you exactly what the truth is. We're expecting your council workers to come in here in a week or so and stop and try to cut the trees. Yeah. We are going to do our utmost to defend that non-violently. Mm-hmm. Yes?
And in compliance with these orders, I hope?
No, we're going to break the law.
No,
if this injunction says we don't go over that, I'm afraid, Mrs. Sweden, with no disrespect.
Well, that's for you. That's for you. That's your choice.
It's a serious business. We do not want anybody getting hurt, us or you. You cannot come in and send men with pickaxes to lift tunnel lids with steel doors. These people have built these over 12, 18 months. Yeah. This is a serious business, and I'm not lying to you.
Hey, there goes my torch.
That road has been going through there as long as really mankind has been considering that roads really go anywhere. Rosslare to Dublin, 25,600 cars using that road every single day at the moment. And if Wicklow County Council predictions are correct, will double within 15 years.
This is Duca's property, you don't have responsibility. We would have become aware of the protesters almost immediately. And our reaction was that we didn't want people occupying the woods. We didn't think it was an appropriate form of protest to actually occupy the woods and build tree houses and tunnels under the ground. Dukas asked the protesters on several occasions to leave, and I came down myself one day and to make a formal request to them to leave, which they refused.
The Irish economy is booming like billiards. That road is going to get heavier and heavier and heavier. It cannot carry on running a motorway through the centre of this woodland. This is important habitat, is it not? Yes. And you can think that you can have a full-scale motorway running through it without affecting it. Yeah. You really think you will not affect it? Sir, you're loopy, I've had enough.
It's very sad. You know, it's so obvious to me anyway, but it is very sad to know that my country is in your hands. You know?
It's not in my hands.
It's a democrat.
Let's build more roads, let's build more this, build more that. Then we'll sell more. And what do you end up with? You end up with landfill sites that no longer can cope with it. You pollute the seas, the air, everything around us.
The problem with the arguments was that we had actually, as I said earlier, spent almost 4 years discussing the impacts on the Glen, and we were satisfied that that this was the best possible solution. There was no alternative route. We had agreed with the council that they would give us land, a greater amount of land to compensate for the land taken up by the road. We had agreed with the council that they would plant 6,000 trees to replace the trees that were being removed. So, all in all, it was a reasonable solution.
If my children see me go to prison for trying to save, the natural beauty that's been here forever. I know you put a time of 5,000 years, but the whole history of the whole thing and the way it's evolved and all, try and save that. I'd rather my children know me for that type of father than, someone that makes millions out of destroying nature,
So here we are in the Glen of the Downs, underneath the Glen of the Downs. This is the chamber area. This is the air supply pumped in the yellow pipe. This is the door, which is reinforced plywood filled with concrete. You tend to forget that you are right underneath the woodlands, underneath the hillside, with God knows what tonnage of soil, stones and rocks and whatever else is up there. We tend to not think about it actually.
This is one of our frontline lock-ons. There's several of these spanning the whole length of both this and the other side of the cut zone. On the day when people come to evict, somebody will lock onto this. This one was courtesy of Wicklow County Council, thank you very much, who put this in to read the water table. And in the bottom, someone has cemented in a hook approximately 1.5 feet into the hole, where somebody on the day will lock their wrist to the hook in the bottom and will not be moved.
You can see the size of it. Look at that there now. It's the height of my head the tunnel is. Right there now. It's exactly the height of my tunnel. Oh yes, I am wearing a belt. I'm after remembering that my belt is caught.
What do you call this?
Which?
This particular bit that you're going through?
The rebirth.
This is one of the better lock-ons. It's apparently a shit pit, but as you see, it's different to the others because we've sunk the lock-on into the ground. It's sometimes known as a dragon. So it's approximately 6 to 7 feet down from ground level.
And you strap yourself on with your feet?
Your feet go down into this hole for about another 3 feet where there's a cemented-in steel bar that your feet are locked onto.
When I did this for the first time, came along here, it was so scary because I was by myself. And there was a person up on top on ground level. And I got stuck. And I had to just lie here for around 10 minutes. I screamed and screamed for a while. No one heard me. But after a while I managed to get out of it. You usually can do that by just relaxing and taking a moment to get some composure. The hard bit is because you're coming uphill. You're trying to push yourself up and you're using your elbows. Now this is where my right ear comes into it.
This campaign is defying a High Court injunction at this stage. And everybody knew it was going to come to this. I mean, all campaigns, you end up breaking the law in the end. I think it's worth breaking the law, really, to uphold the Nature Reserve Act. Most people on this site are willing to break the law.
On the 2nd of December, the Supreme Court denied the protesters' appeal against the roadway and gave Wicklow County Council permission to proceed.
Clashes in County Wicklow as the battle begins for the Glen of the Downs.
Well, obviously, if there's somebody in a tree, we won't be cutting that particular tree. We have a safety person here on site who's monitoring the situation. And if the situation does become in any way dangerous, we'd have to call a halt to the operation.
We're cutting trees right down towards us. The next thing, a guy with a chainsaw came over and started cutting away at the bottom of my tree. Freaky, very, very, very scary. So I just scream my lungs out, get attention, and then everyone starts screaming. And everyone's wound up with the Celtic Tiger and making money and paying off the mortgage. It's sad. Maybe 10 years' time they'll realise what happened here today.
Oh, it must be true. It's in the Evening Herald.
As the protesters launch a fresh appeal in the courts, Wicklow County Council attempt to continue their work in the Glen.
It's great for you are, man. Hey, I've nothing to hide. Yes, nothing to hide from you. Nothing to hide from you.
Neither have I.
Nothing to hide from you.
I served you with a copy of the order we got in October.
It is graceful, man. It is graceful.
That's all right. That's fine. That's you're entitled to your opinion.
Yes. You haven't got one. You're only told to do what you do. You don't think any further. You don't even think any further. You're told what to do by who tells you to do it. You just do it, man. Yeah. It's a job. You tell that to your children but you can't breathe. Hey? Foolish man. movement up there. There's tunnels there.
Yes, I know.
How is to be responsible for the lives of people?
Sergeant, you know there are too many people on there. Can you ask your officers to move off?
After 2 days defending the trees, the protesters received news that the courts have ordered Wicklow County Council to suspend all work.
Nothing personal, lads.
What's happening over there? She was pulled over because she was honking her horn. A dreadful thing to do in this country. You may undermine the whole fabric of our society.
After several court appearances in the following 10 days, the protesters lose their final appeal.
The judiciary just basically decided to put a stop to us yesterday and allowed the status quo to continue. Because really, if the government allowed people power to work, there would be no need for government because people would make the proper decisions themselves. But government exists basically to keep themselves in jobs. And the moment communities can do something positive and take the power from the government's hands, they're out of a job. So of course they couldn't change it. Of course they couldn't allow us to be right. Because for us to be right would destroy the whole social structure.
On the 22nd of December, Dukas officially closed the nature reserve on grounds of public safety.
You have to look up and say, basically it's firewood.
What are these, you? I don't know what they're called. I don't know what the name of them is. But they're a berry that you find growing on a good few trees that they plant in the streets, in suburban housing estates and places like that. I've also noticed them growing on the golf course near here. I made jam out of them a little while ago. And then other times I just use them wherever I might normally use tomatoes in cookery. Like putting them on toast with cheese. Or doing things like that. Often did, but this is probably not a good idea, or it's probably a very bad idea actually. But when I saw things that looked interesting, I'd nibble at a tiny bit of them and then wait for a long time to see if anything happened, if I got sick or anything. If I didn't nibble at a tiny bit more, that's probably actually a very bad idea. I take risks myself to do things that it's probably a bad idea to do. That I wouldn't recommend to others to do.
I feast my eyes on royal things, in my hunger for direction. I call up the long forgotten names. The God I love needs no house of stone, nor is her image.
She's not a lovely person. Oh, wonderful.
Oh my God! Well, the place I call.
Oh, look at the spice cooking. I love this. Is that the cake? This is the big cake. I know it's beautiful. I know what it is.
So that's a special German tradition Christmas cake, and it's called Christmas.
All the way from Germany. And once again, this is a woman with her unwaged work feeding the eco warriors, saving the world.
Everyone.
thought you said this was a path.
Oh no, well, it says somebody has walked along here. I think this is the definition of a path.
Are you sure Squirrel is the best person to be guiding us here?
See that?
Path. That's not a bad view.
This campaign, the Glen of the Mounds, where's it run from? Who runs it?
Oh, it doesn't. It's individuals, lots and lots of individuals, all sort of spinning wildly. Some flapping their arms about. Yeah. Some beating drums, some speaking to people. Thousands of people have been through this camp over the last 2.5 years. Each of them is a component of this campaign. There is no political party. It is individuals. The thousands of individuals who have visited, the hundreds of individuals who have stayed, and the hundreds who have been part of demonstrations and things. It is Tuna Nog. It's the spirit of the young. It is us.
In the end, they traded their tired wings for the resignation that living brings. They traded love's bright and fragile glow for the glitter and the room. In the moat, they were swept before the down.
Goodfellas, ham and pineapple. Don't know what the price of it is, sir. Let's find a date for it, yeah? On the light, if we can. The chances are most stuff they throw out is actually in date. Best before the end of December 00. Muller, thick and creamy. I don't know what price they are, you know, but I mean, I'm sure they're not cheap, and they just love them out. And it's the same every supermarket in the world, as far as I know. Yeah. It's grand. We've been living on it for years. Oh, that beautiful fresh veggies with the lettuce. Isn't that like, that's broccoli? It hasn't even gone yellow. Eh? Madness. Capitalist society, they have more than they need. People starving in the world.
Okay. Can you tell me what's on the menu?
Whatever was in that box. And directly that
different
veggies. Cauliflower, potatoes, carrots, onions, chickpeas for our good mood.
Got a letter from the T-shirt. It's obviously addressed to Squirrel. Nice posh envelope. Oifik on T-shirt. Where do you think they get the gold ink from? Yeah, that's nice. Woo! 5th of January, year 2000. Mr. Mark Conroy there. Dear Mr. Conroy, I wish to acknowledge receipt of your letter, the 3rd of January 2000, which will be brought to the Taoiseach's attention as soon as possible. Yours sincerely, Billy Keane, Assistant Private Secretary to the Taoiseach. It's nice to know that we are on the agenda to be brought before the Taoiseach. God bless his cotton socks. We love you.
Down there. We're turning the whole Glen down. They tried to torture me! They tried to assault me! You saw that, didn't you? I offered only passive resistance. See that? He's twisting my arm. You don't need to do that. I know them here. I've always given it to anyone who that politely, not to someone who's gone and assaulted me. Already. Yes, you did. Someone twisted hit my arm there. I could have been dragged away.
No, you're not supposed to. You are not.
You'll pay back for this out of your own pocket. Don't say you weren't warned. This road is temporary. If this can be widened, it can be narrowed again. You pay for the cost of doing it out of your own pocket. Remember that.
Over the next 3 weeks, the protesters continued to disrupt the work of Wicklow County Council. Eventually, 13 people are jailed for refusing to obey a High Court order to stay away from the nature reserve.
Most of the week it was like maybe 1 or 2 people at the fire and guards coming in and out and looking for everybody that they wanted to arrest, and half your friends are in jail and the others have been in jail, and just mass confusion of what the campaign is about anymore. Like, people from this place doing that and this and the other, and just no cohesion whatsoever. And all these people in prison sitting there probably don't know, not even know what the hell's going on out here.
After 7 weeks, 4 protesters remain in prison. 2 of them have been on hunger strike for 8 days.
In court today, Mr Justice Robert Barr said that the council's preliminary tree felling was essentially completed. He said in the circumstances that it was the appropriate time to release the protesters, and it took them by surprise.
A bit taken aback. The first we heard about it was yesterday afternoon. 2 of the people in prison didn't hear about it until they were taken from their cells this morning. I'm delighted that they realised that they actually shouldn't be using the contempt laws like this. It's just, it was wrong, and I'm not sure that they will see it in those terms, but I certainly do.
What was jail like?
There was loads of concrete there, you know. There was loads of big, huge steel fences. There was loads of lights shining down on us day and night. You know, there was no decoration, nothing beautiful to live in. Everything squares and angles and hard shapes. As I said, concrete, glass. You know, it was as I said, just like the world they're building outside. You could say it's just like any other prison, or just like any other building. You know, just like any school, any hospital, anything like that. But what would be more accurate to say is that all of those buildings are just like prisons.
3 years after the protest began, Dukas finally cleared the forest. Only a handful of protesters remain, but one of them has managed to lock himself into the first underground chamber of the tunnel.
You have 5 minutes, that's all I can say. You come out in 5 minutes, nothing will happen. After that, it's deportation, that's all. Guards are gone. Thomas TB3. It's TB3.
All right, yeah, said he would.
Hi, baby.
Hi, Anne.